All right, back live tonight here on In Focus, and thanks for staying on. Minister of Sports, Arts and Culture, Gayton McKenzie, has vowed to address the issue of what he calls a few individuals benefiting financially from the department. In a recent social media post, the minister says he has asked for a list to be publicized of all artists, creatives and sports people who have been receiving money from the department, including amounts and motivations. Performing artist Eugene Mthethwa joins us now to give us his thoughts on this. Nyambos, good to have you, and thank you very much for coming on. Firstly, I mean, what would be the benefit of publishing these particular names and putting together the names of beneficiaries?
Good evening, Mr. Mdluli, and good evening to all the viewers at home. I think it's a good start for someone that is probably expected not to do much, considering his claim to this entertainment industry as just the owner of the club called ZA. It's a good start, Tabo, because it is something that we've been longing for, especially the issue of accountability, which has been very lacking in the Department of Arts and Culture, whereby you find the mismanagement and corruption that happens within that department. It doesn't get followed after. People are let loose to go resign and go and work in other departments when they have cases that they've left, especially where the Auditor General has given a very bad report about the department. So it's a good start because the list will then be able to tell whether those that benefited were duly, given those benefits on merit, and not because they were closer to certain the proximity to they had proximity to the minister or the staff members. It's a good start.
Is that simply casting aspersions at those who are getting support, victimizing them for genuinely getting the support? Or do you believe, having been, of course, in the corridors of Parliament, there is really a smoking gun? By that I mean repeat beneficiaries who are unduly getting rewards because they are connected.
So we have evidence. One thing that as EFF that we are good at is gathering evidence. I have evidence of documents, supporting documents, that I had actually submitted to the portfolio committee for programs that were funded, the organizations that were funded without accountability, not once, but 3 consecutive years, without any financial report. Suddenly, post their term of office, now there are documents, there are financial reports. There are even companies, auditing companies, that have provided letters when we know that when we went to a conference, an elective conference, these particular organizations did not have financial reports, audited financial reports. So such things, I think this will be the time now those such issues will be resolved, because they've been pending for too long. Look at the World Cup budget. 90 million went missing before even the World Cup, the kickstart of the World Cup. Nobody has ever accounted for that. I can tell you a number of events that were held, Usiba Awards, something that was not in the program of the minister that just popped up. No tender process, but just given to certain people who were in the close proximity with the minister.
Yeah. Hence, others are saying that this particular inquiry that the minister needs to do must not just stop at individual artists or individual sports people who would have benefited. To your point, contracts that have been given to companies, tenders that have been given to companies, but other entities as well, the VF, the National Arts Council, the NHC. To your point and your mission, even collection companies, rights collection companies should certainly be probed.
Yes, indeed. It's an inquiry which we know that, for instance, the department has said when it was found wanting, has said that we have appointed a forensic investigation on certain programs and projects and organizations. But we have never had any report back from those. So I think Gayton McKenzie, one of the things that I want to say it up front, congratulations to him. And I want to say, contrary to many who think that he's not a person who's supposed to, he had no other option. We know that he wanted Home Affairs. But under the government, the GNU, the government of uncertainty, he had no other option but to, the syndrome that was used is noma yini impinjam, the Nyaope syndrome. Noma yini impinjam. He had no option but to take what he was offered, knowing that he's got few seats in parliament. Now, he has more reasons to want to prove himself. Unlike the returning soldiers who felt that to them that appointment or deployment was an entitlement because they have supported whoever politically to ascend to a particular position. But he has a lot. One, he cannot be found in corruption because he doesn't want to go to prison again. This is an ex-convict. Given a second chance, he knows. That's why even when he posted, he said, by the grace of God, I've made it. And it's a good story for any child in South Africa to know that whatever that you put your eyes and your hands on, it will happen if you really, really committed to it. So I think there's a lot of commitment from him. And I'm saying this outside our political differences. I'm saying he has a lot to lose if he does it bad.
Yeah.
He has to prove himself, especially also for his voters who voted for him for Mabahambe. Now that he's not in the Home Affairs, he must now win the hearts of his followers and grow the numbers of his followers in his political party. So I do believe that he is committed to that because he has to prove himself, unlike others that think that, I had to get this position.
Right.
I had to get. And just to make this broad statement, nobody can predict how a minister or a deputy minister will do until he's given a chance. So I'm saying, let's give him a chance.
True.
I congratulate him and give him the chance.
Even Nathi Mthethwa, you were willing to give him a chance up until a point, and you've now set under at least two, Nathi Mthethwa and Zizi Kota, who just came out. Do you believe that department has got the stick to be able to rail in, right, wayward royalty copy or rights collection companies?
You see, the only winning formula for somebody who doesn't really know much about the sector is surrounding himself with the right people. And I believe that he can do that. If he can do that, I can assure him that he will do better. Unlike others who brought friends and circle of friends and cliques, they had nothing to gather from others. They prevented themselves from getting knowledge. So he has to surround himself with the right people, with people who are knowledgeable in different sectors and subsectors. Now, in terms of royalties copyright, one of the challenges that we have that it falls under the Department of Trade and Industry. Okay, but Department of Arts and Culture, what it was supposed to do, it was supposed to bring in, the issue of consultation, broaden the consultation because it works with the sector. It was supposed to go across the country consulting. And this is our hope that with that copyright and performance amendment bill, the president is not going to sign it because even the ANC have agreed that this is not good in its form. But the approach now that it must take, it says, it must separate the two bills. They must be treated separately so that the performance amendment bill could be adopted as it is and be signed by the president. And then the copyright must go back for consultation because in its current form, it is a sad story.
The minister has expressed a view, just coming in, having looked at some reports. He says the arts and culture wing of this department has received lesser attention, even though it gets the bulk of the budget, when you compare it to the attention that would have been given to the sporting arm of it? What is your view?
My take is that, again, he must surround himself with knowledgeable people. You see, we came up with what is called SIFSA. And I was the architect for that. The whole plot around that was that let it be elevated to be at the level of SASCOC. The sport is getting enough and prominent or significant support because it is well organized. There's SASCOC that receives money or funding direct from Treasury, but our sector, it is individual going cap in hand. So to deal away with that, you need a body by an act of parliament that accounts to parliament, directly to parliament, like the SASCOC and other federations within sports. But in our sector, we don't have that. People do as they want, as they wish, because even in these institutions, the minister, the former ministers would put anybody that they want. It is not people who are really, really trustworthy, who are accountable, but friends of friends, because this sector and the institutions in this sector have been for many years used as conduits to siphon the money out of the department, not to do the work. I mean, there's no sense in having so many funding institutions that pay salaries, but every time individuals go and ask for funding, there's no budget.
Indeed. Nyambos, let's leave it there for tonight. I appreciate your time. Thank you very much for coming on. That's Eugene Mthethwa, their music legend and member of the group Trompis, but also an activist for artists on the actions taken by the Minister of Sports, Arts and Culture. In Focus continues shortly. Stay with us.